On a day that the news of a brand new cruise ship arriving in the US should have led in today's news, no, because rumors are starting to emerge about the CDC reevaluating your need to pre-cruise COVID test before your next cruise, which is a massive departure from what we've seen throughout the pandemic. We'll try to answer the question of whether or not you could expect to see changes coming soon. Oh, and we have a brand new cruise ship to talk about. And a broken one. Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. And a happy belated Father's Day to all you dads out there in the Midships family. Hopefully you had a chance to fire up your barbecue, watch a little golf or basketball or whatever else is on TV right now that a dad likes to do to enjoy his special day. Now, let's get things kicked off here with a question of the day. And let's just pull the Band-Aid right off right now. Would you rather cruise lines require or not require pre-embarkation COVID testing? Let me know your answer down in the comments below, and please keep it civil down there. It's my channel. I'm the one that's allowed to bully around here. Yeah. Now, let's get into today's cruise news, and we're gonna touch on the Disney Wish arriving here in Port Canaveral today. But before we do that, I think it's most important that we talk about something that's going to likely affect the entire cruise industry. That seems a little bit more important to me. So we're gonna start with talking about how the CDC is reevaluating pre-cruise COVID testing. So let's just set the table here for this whole story. We'll go into the Wayback Machine and we're gonna set the dial for last week. Not too far back, but last week, the US CDC dropped the requirement for international air travelers to present a negative COVID test before they'd be allowed into the US, which caused most of us cruise creators here in this community to start to wonder, at what point will cruising receive the same level of treatment as other travel industries do here in the US? As you may well know, or maybe you don't know and you're about to, throughout this entire pandemic, cruising has been treated the least fair and been given the most restrictive protocols of any type of travel, bar none. And it's well past time that the unfair treatment ends. And I think we're getting to that point now. But there's an argument that cruise travel is different than air travel, and you're not wrong if you make it. While in air travel, you sit a mere inches away from pure strangers. Aboard a cruise ship, you have your own room. On a plane, you spend 1, 2, 3, 10, 12 hours next to this stranger. On a cruise ship, you cruise with thousands of people you don't know for 3 to maybe 10 days. So yes, there's more opportunities to have contact with people on board a cruise ship. However, the proximity on planes is much tighter in that flying sardine can, if you ask me. So what does the CDC think about cruise travel? Well, they say unlike airplanes and other travel settings, cruise ships are congregate residential settings with higher risk of secondary transmission amongst passengers and crew. So that's the CDC's argument for treating cruising differently than air travel and other forms of travel. But when's the last time you were on a flight and they discussed anything about things like contact tracing? I'll wait. Now, I don't live in some cruise-obsessed bubble. Well, okay, maybe I do live in a little bit of a cruise-obsessed bubble here, but I'm not in such a bubble that I don't consider the other side of the argument, and that side being that of the 84 cruise ships currently being monitored by the CDC, 70% of those ships are in orange status. COVID outbreak investigation needs to occur. So it'd be foolish to assume that it's not getting on board cruise ships, just like it'd be foolish to assume it's not getting on board airplanes, trains, theme parks, movie theaters, concerts, sporting events. All of these cases can and do occur, just like they can and do occur on board cruise ships. Now, it appears the CDC might see the writing on the wall here because they've begun to at least hint that they're reevaluating their stance, and it could lead to major changes for you boarding your next cruise. In a statement put out from the CDC, they say we continue to evaluate the latest science and state of the pandemic. We're currently reassessing the testing requirement for cruising. The CDC remains dedicated to working with the cruise industry to minimize COVID spread and provide a safe and healthy environment for travel for all involved. And for their part, CLIA, Cruise Line International Association, fully supports the easing of pre-cruise testing requirements. And in a statement put out from CLIA, they respond to this news by saying, CLIA believes a review of pre-embarkation testing for cruise travelers is also in order. So, let's talk about what this might look like on your next cruise. And no, I'm not talking about what this cruise nerd shirt would look like on your next cruise. You can clearly see you would look amazing in it. And if you'd like one, there's a link down below. Check it out, it's in my Amazon store. No, I'm talking about what it might look like getting on board your next cruise when you don't need a pre-cruise test. Imagine, if you will, it's 2019. We all look a little younger, and probably we weigh a little bit less from those COVID quarantine pounds. I know I did for sure. You're getting ready to get on a cruise, and all you gotta do is show up healthy, without symptoms, and you're good to go on board. Now, there will be one major difference to that 2019 and 2022, and that's the vaccine requirement. It doesn't sound like that's going away anytime soon, and it's probably very likely that anyone who does make it on a cruise ship unvaccinated still will be required to get their pre-cruise COVID test done. But for those guests who are fully vaxxed, it's likely that in the future, potentially even the very near future, the pre-cruise COVID testing is not going to be a thing for you. Which means by the time we're boarding my group cruise October 24th, link below for more info, there's a chance you're not going to have to COVID test at all to get on board the Carnival Sunshine. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not able to personally test yourself on your own time, your own dime, before, during, or after the cruise. It doesn't mean that you're going to be required to not wear a mask on board, or you're going to be required to not be socially distant from people. You can still do all of these things if COVID is something that will affect you more harshly than it will other individuals. So I'm really curious, like I asked in the question of the day, if you didn't answer, is a change like this in pre-cruise testing something that you welcome, or is it something that you loathe a little bit? Are you just maybe apprehensive or don't know? Please let me know what you think about it down below this video. I'm going to be sitting down this evening in my nice comfy brown chair for a couple hours reading all of your comments on this video. So write me a note, please. Let me know. So as of right now, only one cruise line worldwide is not requiring pre-embarkation testing. None of the major cruise lines here in the US have said anything about their stance on pre-cruise testing. And I can tell you, if it's something that you're in favor of, and if the thought of going on any cruise without pre-cruise testing worries you, you might want to look into Norwegian Cruise Line. Their CEO, Frank Del Rio, took a pretty hard stance about 6 months back, saying he thinks pre-cruise testing is essential and here to stay for good. So this has been a very interesting story. Please keep things respectful down in my comment section. It's not a politics thing, it's just a let me know how you feel thing. Now let's move on to our next cruise news story of the day, which should have been the lead story in this episode, if not for this bombshell from the CDC. We're going to talk about the Disney Wish. So, in the pre-dawn hours this morning, a few miles down the road from here at Port Canaveral, a brand new beautiful ship for the Disney Cruise Line sailed in a long-awaited procession. She was flanked by a flotilla of port-based tugboats and the Port Canaveral Fire Rescue Boat, providing that cool dual water cannon salute for the beautiful new Disney Wish. And you can see here Mickey and Minnie posing in front of their brand new ship. Man, those shoes are really big on those mice though. Disney Wish is the first liquefied natural gas powered cruise ship for the Disney Cruise Line, and she'll be homeported full-time at Port Canaveral. So we now have two of the most futuristic cruise ships in the world powered by alternative fuels right here in Florida's own Port Canaveral. So that is pretty huge, actually. It's a wonderful step forward for the cruise industry, and congratulations to Disney on bringing the Wish home. Her inaugural sailing will take place July 14th in just a few weeks from now, so we'll definitely be talking about the Wish here again pretty soon. All right, let's focus our attention to the West Coast. One of these ways is west. I don't know, it's all reversed in my viewfinder here. Let's focus our attention on the West Coast, and we're going to be talking about Princess Cruise Line. As reported previously in May, their ship, the Crown Princess, when she resumed operations, her very first cruise back, the ship had a technical issue that affected her top speed. They had to change a bunch of itineraries for the ship, and it's starting to become a major problem for guests cruising on board. They've missed port stops completely, or they've spent far less time in port than expected by large amounts. Imagine spending all this money and time planning an Alaska cruise, For some of us here on the East Coast, it could cost thousands of dollars just to fly there, to get to your cruise. You get there and you don't even get to go to Ketchikan, or you get 3 hours there instead of 7. That's a problem. And according to a letter that's just been sent out to guests booked on the July 9th sailing for this ship, they're not even gonna get to go to Ketchikan whatsoever. So what this means for you is if you're booked on this cruise ship, the Crown Princess, anytime between now and like August through October, who knows when they're actually gonna fix the problem, you need to be prepared for your cruise itinerary to be vastly changed from what it looks like when you book the cruise. For their part, Princess Cruise Line is offering affected guests a $100 onboard credit. So there you have it, the diesel generator on the Crown Princess still causing problems. They already have one that's broken completely, and the other one they said has a minor problem, but boy, this doesn't sound like a minor problem to me. Hopefully Princess and parent company Carnival Corp can get this thing ironed out here sooner or later. I hate the idea of cruisers missing out on all of these beautiful port stops. And if you don't want to miss out on all these beautiful Midships episodes, I'd invite you to subscribe to this channel right now. Just hit that subscribe button right down there below, and the thumbs up helps a lot too. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. Until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships. It's a day for tea. Sometimes I just talk too much and I need tea. When I script out these episodes, I actually speak them into the microphone so I can read them back naturally in my own voice and words. And by the time I'm done doing that and reading it over 10 times, it's like you lose your entire voice. It's crazy. I have a newfound respect for anybody who works in front of a camera. La 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 la